That's not what we're asking for. However, if the community decides that's what's best for that space, if you guys support me on this, choosing with the ranking, it's possible for that to be had because their proposal specifically states it's what the community wants in that space. I just haven't heard a traditional school.
I mean, because when you're bringing this many families, sooner or later somebody's gonna have some kids.
But that's not what our community wants at this point. We have, to be quite honest, I'm speaking what my community has said to me that they want, and it has not been an elementary school, so I'm not going to advocate for one. But I will advocate for a space that is dictated by my community.
I'm just going to suggest we can come back if there's follow-up. We'll give everyone a chance to ask their questions. Commissioner Anderson.
Yes, thank you to all of the presenters. I have a concern regarding the Promel School Site Community Development Team. While the partners, Habitat for Humanity and Ed Mazik, have exceptional reputations and records in serving the community that are just unquestionable, I have some concerns about William C. Smith. I represent citizens that reside in 10 buildings, Jet 2 apartments that are managed by William C. Smith, and frankly, they've been mistreated, and I don't like the process at all. And I will not support any project that rewards a developer for mistreating any segment of our city. And we've had a lot of problems that were hashed out in the Office of Administrative Hearings. The Center for Court Excellence has issued a report talking about that process. We're underscoring that there were problems.
Right,
so I will not be supporting any developer, William C. Smith.
Okay, so that same concern is why that group has been ranked number 3. Everyone who knows me know affordable housing is my favorite thing. I'm always championing it. However, at the 2 meetings that that group presented, the same opposition came into place was the management service that William C. Smith does provide. So I've listened to my residents, and that's why they're not ranked higher on the list.
I have a question. Commissioner Lewis, who is the we that's doing the ranking?
The ranking came from, if you were present, and I did see you were present at the overall meeting at Bethesda, there were residents in there, and they shared their opinion on the project. That's the we I'm speaking of.
Okay, because the residents that I know of and the people who were surveyed and actually live in Ivy City are the ones whose concerns are best represented by W.C. Smith. And you were not, I don't know if you took part in that survey. Are you aware of the survey I'm talking about, where people went door to door in Ivy City with the people who actually live there?
Yes.
Not people who don't live there, as you don't.
A bad reputation is a bad reputation.
And
Excuse me. I think.
I have residents here who live in the community who would like to speak.
So,
that's right.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen.
Can we get order? Excuse me,
Ladies
can we
and
get
gentlemen.
order, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give commissioners an opportunity to speak first, and then we'll certainly open it up to the floor. Everyone will have an opportunity to speak. Please allow us to do our.
At some point, I would like for my residents to speak because I'm now being challenged by one resident saying that the views I'm sharing is not that of the community. So I will at some point want my residents to speak.
Did you have a question, Commissioner Blackwell? Are there any other questions from commissioners that haven't spoken yet? Just hang on 1 second.
Hold on.
Commissioners, any other questions haven't spoken yet? Okay, members of the public, and we're gonna raise your hand if you would like to ask a question for the presenters. Just you could raise your hand. I'm trying to get a sense of how many folks have questions. You could raise your
I
hand.
think this lady right here. This
Raise them
lady-
high if you have a
Raise it high,
question.
please. There's one right there. So far it's 2,
1, 2,
3,
3.
4.
Could you raise your hand very high if you
Yes,
would like
we
to be
can see.
recognized so we can make sure? I see 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna go in that order.
Okay, and the lady right here haven't finished.
People
And
in
we're
the
gonna-
same household like have the same opinions too. That should be noted. People of similar households usually have the same opinions, so I don't want it to appear as if information is overwhelmingly in one direction.
Ma'am in the back. You have the floor.
Janine?
Yes.
Just you.
Alright, one thing that I didn't hear in the other presentations where I hear affordable jobs and affordable housing, is anyone offering anything when it comes to higher education? Because as you know, in DC, having a job is just not good enough to work in DC. And there's a cap on affordable housing, so once you get to a certain amount, then you're dropped off. So it's good for job training, but is there a transition point for job training? Or is there any advantages of transitioning to college or anything like that?
I'd like to answer that first. The YMCA was chosen to actually inhabit the Carmel School just because we do serve everyone, cradle to grave. And we have been talking with the YMCA, and my partner and I have been working with the YMCA for 12 years, and we have worked on any number of YMCA facilities in the entire DMV. We know that with the 7,000 foot floor prints, that there are a lot of different programs that we can do. And one of the most aggressive that we do is internships. And we do job training, and we do transitional programs. And why isn't here tonight? Because we knew we had a limited amount of time. But for one of those floor plates, we're looking at daycare, after school care, we're looking at seniors, and the third, we're looking at a program exactly as the community would like. If that is transitions for teenagers, transitions for pre-college, internships, we do all of that right now in almost all of our facilities across the DMV. We serve about 250,000 people, and we would include that very heavily. We would ask the Y to include that, which we have done in any number of sites, if that is exactly what the community needs. We're working with Goodwill as well.
And I just want to add, that's one of the reasons we included Goodwill as one of our partners. As you may know, Goodwill has a charter school that provides adult education to adults. And they don't just help adults get a GED, but they actually help them get a high school diploma. So we will be looking to bring that kind of program to the Carmel School.
Well, if I may speak on behalf of the Carmel School redevelopment team, we left this open for programming by community service providers from what we heard from community surveys and community meetings, and certainly are open to provide classroom space for higher education. We hadn't had it all formalized yet. We've done that at the ARC. We have Trinity University that provides curriculum and courses there, and happy to replicate that as well.
And I would just answer as well, we left the programming open for that option, and also Progress was a place that we envision being a participant in some of this job training. One of our policies is to help pay for higher education for our current employees now. We would certainly continue on with that type of training, but as far as higher education specifically, that would really be up to the community, if that's what they want. I think it's another effort on the smart effort. We try to go through.
Thank you. Who was number 2?
No,
You
I
got question number 2 from the audience.
Question number 2. I think this guy right here.
Okay, so we're just trying to give everyone an opportunity to ask their question again before lunch. There's a lot of them.
I have a
Sorry.
question for the IT department. My understanding is that for the school itself, the project, your project is rehabilitated, and then all of the ownership and operation of the school would be left with the city. Is that correct? That's correct. And so the potential function of the building itself is somewhat of an unknown in terms of what the city would elect to do, what kind of support the city is providing the program. So you have to be specific about whether there's a budget for the city operation of the school, or whether you have a particular use of the school from the city point of view.
Sure, the city could say to us, we want to get control of it,
commercial office space, they want you to go find tenants, they want you to go, operate it in that fashion, those kinds of things that they want you to have in there. So, but what it does, at least in our view, when we were thinking about it from the very beginning, is this can be done. We don't have to ask anybody for any money, we don't have to ask anybody for anything else to be able to do it. Whatever the other projects are, that's fine, but we came up with an idea of, we're gonna present something that we know can be done from day one.
Right, but I mean, in terms of what the important goal of giving the community access to the building, the specifics that in your proposal are fairly vague, whereas in the WC Smith proposal, it's quite specifically given with a budget to the community, to be managed by the communities directly. So with that said, I'm disagreeing with good.
Okay, I can accept that. From reading the proposal, Ivy City's partners, their proposal gives the space, or they will pay for what we want in the space. So it's not vague. We repeatedly asked for the same things, and that's also documented in the RFP. You know, so we rank all of those things. So it's not a vague idea. They're just not coming to us and telling us what they're going to put in the space as the other developers have.
I do recognize.
Ma'am, we heard you once, if it was time, we'll absolutely come back, but we've gotta be fair to everyone. So, did you all wanna respond? I think you guys have not responded, so if you guys quickly respond.
We just want to say, based on our experience working in the district, I mean, one of the projects that we have been involved in was Packard Carlsberg redevelopment. And I think many people may know that one of the requirements of that redevelopment project was to have a community center. And the district did ultimately. The developer built the community center and it's sitting empty right now because the district doesn't have the capability to operate that. And so they are actually looking for people to do it. So that's why we thought it was important to actually have somebody that could operate a community center as opposed to leaving it open and then giving it back to the district when the district, there's examples where the district just doesn't have the capability or the capacity to do that in other communities.
Question number 3.
That was, I mean, she kind of answered my question, which my concern was with all of the owning and operation of the building. And so the only reason why I was saying I didn't agree with the actual ranking is because I do see the YMCA having something that's gonna be able to own and operate on a regular basis, and then WC Smith, so somebody that's gonna be actually able to manage it on a day-to-day basis. That's how I was like, okay, personally, in my opinion, we wanna make sure that the building is gonna be functioning, and we don't put it back on the city, because the city in our community has had a long reputation of going up in there.
But see, I think where the misunderstanding is coming, even though the city owns it, they're going to pay for the funding of what is in the space. So it's not
Even
put
the
back on.
operation though, not just paying for it.
Yeah, their thing for their proposal is, it's not going to be just the city space, but they're going to pay for it and put the things we want in it. And if we're choosing to have them manage it, that's fine. Or we could choose to have an outsider manage it. With the other two, residents at the meeting, they were concerned about membership for YMCA. And then for the final project, there was an alarming number of people saying that they mismanaged. So, not YMCA. YMCA's issue was the cost. People were not sure if the programming would meet all of the needs of the community. They made comments like, we don't just want swimming. And then with the WC Smith, that was one of the weak links in that project, was the fact that people were concerned if we were going to have, I'm gonna use the term, slumlords. So,
If I may just address
I
that.
put it in quotations.
What I've offered to you, what I've offered to the other residents that brought that discussion, allow me to go to that property, allow me to.
That's 10 of them.
And even the commission.
Alright,
It's
yeah,
Tim.
Ma'am, we've given you the floor.
But I'm just going off of hers.
But we can't, we've gotta be fair to everyone,
But
so
see,
like,
she's, or, that's
But-
true, she
Well,
can't
I'm
speak, but
offering to give it
however,
to
I
her.
know this resident did want to take her up on
She
that offer.
spoke, but-
I declined because I have to go to work, I take up a lot of time for
Happy
all
to
of
do it on
these
a
meetings.
Saturday. Happy to do it anytime you're free.
I don't have very much free time.
so.
And
can
I
we just-
think if the residents were at the meeting and they said that, I'm going to take that and trust their judgment. I'm not going to go against my residents when they say management has been bad. I have another resident who wants to speak.
So, do any of the applicants have need to respond? Okay, ma'am, you responded, sir.
Yes, I'd just like to say to your point, ma'am, we work with nonprofits across the country, and we've been doing this for about 15 years. The number one issue is operations. It's easy to build buildings. There are lots of federal funds, there are lots of state funds, there are a lot of DC funds. You can use low-income housing tax credit, you can use historic tax credit, new market tax credit. What happens when the building is up? We chose the Mary Center and we chose the YMCA and Goodwill because they're operators. They have been in this community. The YMCA was chartered by Abraham Lincoln. They're still going. Mary Center was started by Maria Gomez 40 years ago in the basement. She's still going. She goes to the White House. We pick people that can serve the community, that are going to be there, that are going to